Let's go to the waiver wire. Next week, the week of January 2nd, Happy New Year, everybody. Washington with just 2 games, and there are 21 teams with 4 games. So you thought you got a rest over Christmas.
Yeah. You
NBA
cannot play Bradley Beal this week. Between injuries and 2 games, you need a Beal replacement at the very least.
Yes, I do in Stake League. I absolutely do need a Beal replacement. Let's jump into my available in 50% of leagues player this week, which is Naz Reid of the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is an Alex Barutha keeper favorite, who I of course had on our minor league contract for 2 years and then had to dump him because he wasn't doing anything. And then now.
And people will remember you used to have the Naz Reid haircut when you started working at RotoWire.
True. But I did pick him back up in that same keeper league for $2. So we will see if that works out.
But can't argue with that.
In November of last year, I wrote about Reid in my keeper targets article, in which I wrote, Reid has a comically high usage rate for a backup center. I can't stay away from the per minute production. He should be the Thunder's starting center, not the Wolves' backup. I'd be willing to take a chance on him with the hopes of landing him in a better situation somehow. And look at where we are today.
Why do you make that Gobert trade when you've got Naz on your bench? I don't understand it.
He's a little short, so he's not like an ideal rim protector, but
so was Wes Unseld, baby.
Right, exactly. And
you got the right bumpish, make it happen.
They had Jared Vanderbilt, and anyway, we don't want to get into relitigating that trade because that's a whole podcast. But since Chris Finch and has decided to play Gobert and Reid more together in the wake of Towns' injury, the past 7 games, Reid has averaged 17 points on 61, 50, 55 shooting, 7.1 boards, 1.9 assists, and 1.9 stocks in 26 minutes. And even since December 1st, he is 83rd in per game 8 cat value. Towns, he might be back sometime in the next 2 weeks because he had a 4 to 6 week timetable when he initially got hurt. But I think you just add Reid and just hope for a longer absence from Towns. And who knows, Reid's just played himself into 20 minutes per game for the rest of the year. And if Reid sees 20 minutes per game for the rest of the year, you can roster him in 14 teams. There you go. That's not a problem.
Well, they're going to commit to 2 big lineup. If you're going to do that, Reid should get lots of minutes.
Who is your available in 50% of leagues player?
Well, we mentioned him earlier in the pod because of those injuries in New York. I'm going with Immanuel Quickly, who's rostered in only 36% of Yahoo leagues and only 9% of ESPN. And the key here, RJ Barrett's out at least a week. And whenever they say at least, I always get scared. Jalen Brunson's dinged up. He's probably just a day-to-day issue. And Quickly did go off while Brunson was out. Brunson's going to come back, but Barrett's out at least a week. That explosion from Quickly, 36 points, 7 boards, 7 dimes in that Thursday night loss to the juggernaut of San Antonio. But hey, last 6 games, almost 20 points, almost 5 dimes, over 3 rebounds while shooting 47% from the field. The Knicks do only have 3, one of the few teams with 3 games next week instead of 4. But I do like Quickly being productive for hopefully the next 2-3 weeks for your Knickerbockers.
Quickly, I am a huge Immanuel Quickly guy. I think he has a future in the NBA. He is someone who has just proven year after year that he helps the team. He's the exact reason
Tibbs should use his bench more, right? Like, Tibbs, stop killing your starters. You have talent on the bench, but you have to use them. They can't just sit for 46 minutes of the game and then just think they're going to be productive.
Right. Like, his shooting percentages aren't amazing, but he's a good free throw shooter. He's got 3-point upside. And the thing is, again,
pushes the pace on a slow team.
And this is why I don't mind investing in Quickly. I think he's a keeper league, like, obvious. You got to try to get your hands on Quickly. But even for this year, those guys are going to come back, Barrett and Brunson. But Quickly, he just, again, as a rookie, this is his point differential per 100 possessions. Rookie year, plus 8.1.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, plus 12.2. This year, plus 7.9. He just has to be on the floor for them.
And frankly, this team, they're very slow in plotting. Would it kill you to experiment with some 3-guard lineups to push the pace? You know, you and I were big on Hartenstein, but obviously he's not getting what they want in New York there. I'd love to see some 3-guard lineups for the Knicks. So don't move slowly to pick up Immanuel Quickly in your free agent waiver wire. Alex and I are both going to give 2 long shots because Sir Shannon is out puppy training and baby training. So, Alex, who you got as your first of 2 long shots of the week?
Actually, I will say I'm gonna cut in to say, please add Donte DiVincenzo.
Yes.
He does not. I did not make him my.
We mentioned him last week.
I think we've mentioned him. I may have mentioned him 3 weeks in a row. That's why I don't just pick him up.
He got a little injured. Then he got a little dinged up, so he's still out there. Yeah, agreed.
He's averaging like 14, 5, and 3 with a steal and a half. Like for a month.
I think he was the cover guy. I think he was the cover guy 2 weeks ago with the video.
43% rostered in Yahoo. Just like, why is he not on every single roster? My long shot though, Landry Shamet, 19% rostered. Yahoo, 3% ESPN. He is on the Suns. He has Achilles soreness right now, which I do not like to hear. So keep an eye on that leading up to Sunday waivers.
Yet still one of their healthiest players right now.
Yeah, true. Booker's out for at least a month. Shamet was on fire before missing these past 2 games. He was making 5.5 threes per game, making them.
Yeah.
Over the past 4 appearances.
Wildly overpaid for some reason. I don't know why Phoenix gave him such a big contract 2 years.
Yes. He's on the Clippers, and they're like, he's great. I'm like, is he? Anyway, those past 4 appearances, 22.5 points, 4 assists, 3 boards. That's nice. But this pickup has an eject button. Abort. If you see Cam Payne returning soon, he's been out the past 9 games with a foot injury, no timetable, but who knows? If you see him coming back soon, hit the eject button. Do not do this pickup.
Well, and let me add to that, especially if you have an IL spot, and Yahoo will let you pick up directly to your IL. Pick up Cameron Payne because with Booker out gone for 4+ weeks. I stashed Payne, I think, in our Sirius XM league.
Okay.
And hey, if he gets healthy again and he's not getting him minutes, just dump him. But don't waste your IL spots. Cameron Payne to me is a great speculative IL ad. He could be back in a week and starting as they go with the 2 point guard lineups because of Booker's out.
Fantasy managers in 5 IL leagues have the entire Suns roster in their IL right now. Ken, who is your first long shot of this week?
We mentioned him also earlier in the pod. Washington's Rui Hachimura. Now, warning: this is a speculative longer-term ad. Washington only has 2 games this week, so if you take him, he should be on your bench next week. But outside of that, Hachimura scored 30 points in Wednesday's win over Phoenix. Look, he's been an enigma for 3+ years in Washington. He's 24 years old. An ankle issue had him out for 15 games this season. He's only been back for 4. But some things to remember. He shot 58% during his 3 years at Gonzaga. He had a nice run as a starter at the end of the season for Washington. His last 3 games, almost 22 points, almost 4 rebounds, 66% field goal shooting, and 1.3 threes per game. Also, hearing some Kuzma trade rumors, which are interesting, and that would free up a ton of minutes for Hachimura if the Wizards went that route. Anyway, it's the long shot of the week. I'm not saying he's a lock. He's managed in 24% of Yahoo leagues, only 8% of ESPN. But Rui Hachimura is my first long shot of the week. Any thoughts, Alex, on Hachimura?
I think the Kuzma point is probably the best point. I think Kuzma is going to look elsewhere. And listen, Beal, like the combination of Beal and Porzingis, they just can't stay healthy this year. And they just need someone to score. And Hachimura likes to just be that sort of microwave, mid-range power forward off the bench. That's just.
Well, you already brought up Shamet for the Suns. Who else you got as a long shot, Alex?
Patrick Beverly.
Ooh.
I know. It hurt to type that. My computer just
some smoke came out the back. Ooh, what? Excuse me.
8% rostered in Yahoo. 10%
He's
on
available.
ESPN. He is. I mean, we called it in our notes. It says the longer shot of the league.
Right.
So I took that literally, and I said I need single digits for this to be a recommendation. However, over the past 10 days, he has ranked 78th in per game 8 cat. Past 5 games, 10.4 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, 1.8 stocks. That is very typical past half decade Patrick Beverly numbers. But that guy has flirted with top 100 value when healthy because he's always hurt.
Is terrible. Especially with Davis out, the Laker defense is atrocious. So you need someone to put some pressure on the ball, and Beverly's that guy.
And I think Beverly is a really hard real life player to evaluate. But if you're in a 16-team league and someone is out on the waiver wire who seems like they might consistently average 10, 4, and 3 with 2 stocks, you just got to pick that guy up in a 16-teamer. And he's a start on a 4-game week.
Yeah, 4-game week, exactly. He's getting a ton of minutes. Patrick Beverly. All right, nice. My longer shot of the week, and this is a longer shot. This is also wildly speculative. It's the rookie Mark Williams in Charlotte, managed in 18% of Yahoo leagues. Look, the Hornets have been trying for an impactful center, it seems like 10 years, since Alonzo Mourning, maybe. Forever, they've been looking for a center. Rookie Williams, also, the Hornets have 4 games next week. The rookie Williams is all about pedigree. He's only 20 years old. But remember, he was the number 15 pick just this last summer in the NBA draft. The 7-footer is all about blocks, boards, and field goal percentage. This kid blocked 2.8 blocks a game his second year at Duke. I've never believed in his backup, who I'm completely blanking on in Charlotte.
Nick
Know
Richards.
who he is. Yeah, never believed in Richards. Anyway, this is a wildly speculative pick. But he could be an even cheaper Duren in the Pistons, even cheaper Jalen Duren. Mark Williams, Hornets, and he's lousy. You drop him again, but they desperately need a meaningful center in Charlotte. It's time to let this Williams kid play because, frankly, the Hornets are doing nothing this year.
So it's interesting because I like Richards, and they don't. I'm just sick of Mason Plumlee. Let's put it that way. And I think Richards has given them some good minutes. But I did write the Mark Williams fantasy outlook for this year. And when I was writing it, I was writing it, I was thinking, I think this guy might be good. And so now it's hard for me to disagree with anything you're saying. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start playing Williams over Richards because you sort of mentioned his accolades. He was ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He, in Summer League, in 19 minutes a game, averaged 7.5 boards and 2.4 stocks. In 19 minutes, he's got a 7.7 wingspan, and he's a good free throw shooter. Let's go to your dull suggestion this week, Ken.
My boring suggestion, which I think you brought up, Alex, in an earlier show, former Celtic, Aaron Nesmith, for the Indiana Pacers. He's only managed in 11% of leagues. He is a starter for a Pacers squad that needs people to shoot. Pacers have 4 games this week. And hey, last 6 games, almost 15 points, 5.5 rebounds, shooting 54% from the field while hitting 1.5 3-pointers a game. If you need, a 1 or 2 week plug, Aaron Nesmith in Indiana is getting it done. And we talked about it in the past. He actually is playing good defense. I mean, his issue is he couldn't stay healthy in Boston. They had a loaded roster. There is a huge avenue for minutes in Indiana. Anyway, so he's a little dull. He's not going to, he's not going to dominate any one category. But I've got some leagues where I've got Grayson Allen. What am I doing on Grayson Allen? I should be playing Aaron Nesmith in every one of those.
Try RotoWire free. Go to rotowire.com/try and unlock the paywall by putting in your email.